NaNoWriMo is quickly approaching. 1 month of the year where writers try to write as fast as they can while slowly losing their mind. Now, several years ago, I was working as a ghostwriter, and I was turning out 90 to 100,000 word novels every 28 days. That is not a schedule that I would recommend to anyone, but it did teach me a lot about writing fast. And so I'm going to give you my top 5 tips that I ran into along the way that helped me learn how to write faster. And now I know I'm preaching to the choir a little bit here because it has been a while since I did that, and it's been a while since I've written fiction in general. Reintroducing these tips into my writing routine has helped so much, and I've been able to more consistently reach my goal of writing 2,000 words a day, which is right around the mark that you need to be going at in order to win NaNoWriMo. So here we go. Tip 1. This is the most boring one, but probably the most important one, and it's to turn the tap on. Katelyn, whatever do you mean? I wish so badly that I could remember where I read this, where I heard this. I literally have no idea. But a long time ago, I heard that someone say writing is very much like turning on the water in a sink, in that the water can't flow unless you're willing to turn the tap on. So even if at first it's like just a couple drips, eventually the water will flow. And it's sort of the same thing in writing, where it's important for us to see the value of cranking up and just turning the tap on even if we don't see the water flowing yet. Because writing 300 words in an hour-long writing session sucks. And I'll never deny that, but I feel like the more experience I've had trying to write full manuscripts, the more value I've been able to see in those like annoying times, because once you get through those and you're really in the story, it is much easier to feel like the story is flowing out of you as opposed to you wringing it out. Because if it's been a while, you really do have to kind of push yourself through those first sessions where you're basically warming up, even though it does not feel fun. Tip 2 is 10-minute writing sprints. Writing sprints are not like revolutionary, but this is a reminder that they're kind of important, especially on the days that you're going to be really busy. I highly recommend putting a timer that you can actually see, like if you have it on your phone or on a screen, so you can sort of feel that pressure a little bit. But just because the timer's on your phone does not mean you can check your phone. This is a full focus, no phone, no social media time. It feels like it's forever long sometimes, but it is only 10 minutes. The entire time, you do not want to stop writing. You want to keep your fingers moving. Even if the sentences are just trash that you know you're going to delete later, you want to just keep putting words into the document. That is the main goal, because eventually something good is going to come out. Something that I found really helpful when doing writing sprints is to put a song on repeat. It's only going to repeat 2 or 3 times, so you won't get super sick of it. But if I find that something has a really good vibe for the scene, I don't want to mess with that vibe halfway through the writing sprint, so I'll just go ahead and put it to cycle over and over again. I've written significant portions of stories this way, so if you've got a really busy day, I really recommend these little mad dashes. Everyone's typing speed is going to be different. Normally, I can get about 800 words during that time, and as far as the NaNoWriMo daily goal, that's about half, which is way better than not sitting down to do any of it at all. 3 is the I don't know paragraph. In my opinion, this kind of holds hand in hand with the keep the tap on situation, where you just want to stay in a state of motion. So if you don't know what to say, you begin an I don't know what to say paragraph, and you just type that sentence over and over and over again. Your fingers are at least moving. You haven't taken yourself away from the computer. You haven't picked up your phone to start looking at social media. You haven't gone on the internet to research something you need for your story. I mean, at least those are my 3 biggest distractions and snacks. Eventually, you are going to get so bored of typing this sentence that you will get back to the story. Even if they're not your most well-crafted sentences, that's not really what the first draft is about anyways. And it's sort of like a detour on the road instead of just going off the rails and quitting for the day. Number 4 is to have an outline. I'm so sorry. If you've seen some of my writing videos that I've made this year, you know that I'm a pantser, and I honestly didn't think outlining was worth it until very recently. For the story I'm working on now, I have a 10,000 word outline, and I have never written anything like that in my life to prepare for a story, but I'll be honest, it is so incredibly nice because I'm staring off into space way less, because I'm not trying to make up the story on the spot. I'm more just trying to expand on what I've put in the outline, so at least the idea is there and I just kind of have to water it. And it's also really nice to get to a scene that I was really excited to write about. So sometimes I'll get to a point in the outline where I remember thinking like, this is gonna be such a fun scene, or like I can't wait to see, you know, the characters handle this specific situation, or to write the dialogue here. Having that initial excitement makes it way easier to just dive into a scene, as opposed to sitting down and being like, okay, like what's next for them today? So if you haven't tried outlining, I'd highly recommend just trying it for this NaNoWriMo, see if you like it. It does not have to be 10,000 words, but I have done a 1-page outline before where I just write the basic bullet points of what needs to happen through the story, and even that can be helpful. And my last tip is to stay in the story. Even if you don't have the 10 10 minutes to do a writing sprint. Like, try to just either get a sentence down or at least read a paragraph from what you wrote the day before, because one of the worst things that I've done with some of the stories that I really love is that I'll work on them and then, you know, I won't feel like I have a lot of time, so I'll take 3-6 months off from it, and then when I come back to keep working on it, I'm really frustrated because I have this weird fog of like, what was I talking about? You know, who was this side character? What was their purpose? Like, all these things that if I had just kept myself kind of immersed in the story over time, I wouldn't have run into that. And it also means a lot less weird developmental edits on the back end because you didn't have these weird disconnects along the way because you took, you know, longer breaks. And for Nanowrimo, that's not as huge of a problem. But I know for me, even if I'm not going to be writing for 3 or 4 days, I'm going to at least try to go back and like take a look at where I was in the scene just so it stays kind of fresh. If you are going to be doing Nanowrimo, I would love to hear the premise or some of your ideas in the comments. Personally, I'm going to be working on my story about a tattoo apprentice who is supposed to inherit magical powers from her grandfather, but when she goes to retrieve them, she loses the key and has to employ a handsome but kind of unreliable lockpick who accidentally receives the powers instead and then takes off. She has to track him down, and when she does, they sort of need to figure out how they're going to share this power because they both have really dire situations in their lives that require magic. And through that journey, we get to see them develop feelings towards one another, and it's been so fun to write so far. So I'm hoping in the upcoming month I can get through the end of it and have a full draft in my hands. I will print it. Please like this video if you liked it. Click subscribe if you want to talk about more book stuff. My name's Katelyn. Thanks for watching. Bye!